Hello, everyone. You know, what I love about archery is all you can think about is that one arrow, breath, and intention. Let's get into it. Okay. So, part two, we broke down the basics of how church financing can work behind the scenes: loans, investment funds, real estate. The groundwork is set, the context is clear. This is Real Life Ministries in Post Falls, Idaho. Thousands of people gather here every Sunday. The church owns roughly $34 million in tax-exempt property across 4 campuses. And here's why this series exists in the first place. Not a single dollar of it has been publicly accounted for. That's unusual. A nonprofit, checkmychurch.org, requested basic financial records. Staff reviewed the request and denied it. Senior Pastor Jim Putman was contacted directly, no response. Everything you're about to see comes from the public records, county assessor's data, IRS filings, Secretary of State records, court documents, and the church's own material. Nothing hidden. We're simply just putting all the information together, painting a full picture so you can decide if this is the church and the leader that you really want to follow. So this is called the money loop. So it starts in 1999. The Church Development Fund purchased the original 33-acre campus and financed a 124-acre expansion parcel. Its president at the time, Doug Crozier. In 2010, Crozier left CDF and created the Solomon Foundation. In 2014, property known as the Courts is transferred to the Solomon Foundation. In 2017, the Solomon Foundation sells the same property to Real Life Ministries for roughly $6 million. The sale appears in county records. Today, the church promotes Solomon Foundation investments certified directly to its congregation, including events and informal dinners, encouraging members to learn more about investing and funding. Those investments are not bank accounts and are not insured. So today, the church promotes Solomon Foundation investments certified directly to its congregation, including events and informal dinners, encouraging members to learn more about investing in the fund. Those investment certifications are not bank accounts and are not insured. Investors are told the money is then lent to the churches and ministry projects. So the loop looks like this. A church financing funds finances church land. The former president of that fund starts a new investment fund. That fund sells property to the church. The church encourages members to invest in the same fund, and then the fund lends money to the churches. Money moves in circles. Wow! This is all very fascinating stuff, isn't it? Public documents also show the Solomon Foundation manages roughly $1.2 billion in assets. Executive compensation around $635,000. The fund reports $9.2 million in losses in 2024. Offering documents reference tens of millions in related party loans to churches. Connected to leadership. All of this comes from the IRS database, offering circular and county property records. So one person connects multiple parts of the system. Mr. Jerry Lyon. He served as a treasurer and elder at Real Life Ministries for over a decade, overseeing church finances. During that period, he also served on the board of the Solomon Foundation. Ooh. In effect, he helped oversee church finances while also governing the fund that sold property to the church and collected investment money from church members. He also co-founded a local bank with a major real estate figure in the area, creating additional overlapping financial relationships. Real Life Ministries is not just one organization, it operates as a network that includes the church itself, Relational Discipline Networks, and Genesis Preparatory Academy. The school leases space from church campus. Leadership overlaps across all 3 organizations. The same individual appears as staff in one entity, board member of another, and a leader in the third. Because the church itself does not release financial statements, compensation across the full network cannot be fully seen. Nonprofit filings show at least some leaders are paid through connected entities while also serving in governance roles across the network. Multiple organizations, shared leadership, shared campus, shared operations, but no clear independent governance separates them. Land and development. Next to the church campus, a subdivision is being developed. Several nearby lots are owned by individuals connected to leadership at the private school. Genesis Prep is planning a $15 million expansion directly adjacent to those privately owned lots. Every road, parking lot, building, and infrastructure improves and increases the value of the surrounding land, even if the land is privately owned, while the church and the school properties remain tax exempt. No public conflict of interest disclosures related to these adjacent property holdings were found. No laws appear to be broken, but it raises a governance question. When tax-exempt institutions expand next to privately owned land controlled by the people connected to leadership, who benefits and is it disclosed? Now, let's take a step back and look at the full picture. About $34 million in tax-exempt property, very little property tax paid, no public financial statements from the church itself, a $1.2 billion investment fund promoted to church members, leadership overlaps across multiple organizations, a private school leasing space from the church, land development tied directly to the institutional expansion, multiple members of the founding family on church staff with undisclosed compensation. Individually, any of these factors may be explained, but taken together, they form a tightly connected ecosystem where money, property, leadership, and expansion all remain inside a very small circle. At the end of the video, you'll see a full picture. To be clear, we are not accusing anyone of a crime. We are not claiming fraud. We are showing an absence of safeguard that keeps trust alive. Over the course of this series, we scrubbed every record. Nothing came from leaks or insiders. We examined property holdings, financial structures, overlapping leadership across multiple organizations, land development next to tax-exempt properties, investment funds promoted to church members. Individually, any of these may be legal. Any may have an explanation. But governance isn't just about legality. It's about transparency, accountability, and independence, especially for a church claiming to be led by a man of God. The people grieving every week are not just attendees. They fund everything: the building, the salaries, expansion, the future of the organization. The question that has started this series remains the simplest and most important. Where does the money go? Who truly benefits? Not as an accusation, just as a question any donor has a right to ask. Transparency builds trust. Secrecy erodes it. Independent oversight protects everyone: leaders, staff, and members alike. This is not just the end of the story. This is where transparency should begin. And I believe in second chances, so Jim Putman and all the leadership at Real Life Ministries, why don't you go ahead and show everybody who is benefiting from this and where the money's going? Reputation isn't built on sermons, attendance, or buildings. It's built on what you do when people ask the hard questions. Be a man of God in the truest sense. Lead with faith. Lead with service. Lead with integrity, not secrecy, not money. Titles fade. Influence fades. But history remembers action. You can't take the money with you when you leave here. So when the books finally open, what will the world see?